Hello, everybody. Super good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kevin Chan session again. And today we are continue with the final installment for the QiMen Essential 9 stars. We are at the final last little star, which is called the Heaven Pillar. Right, so Heaven Pillar star. So you start to understand what the hell does the Heaven Pillar means. Right, so I can see Peppo as usual, number 1 to join in. Welcome, guys. So how are you all doing? Yes, for those of you who have noticed, this is a new camera. Right, it's a 4K camera. Nothing to do, go and buy a 4K camera and update lah, right? So the previous one was a 1080, right? So today 1080, so right now using a 4K camera. Got difference, right? So yeah, I don't know I got difference or not, right? So hello Kelvin, hello Saul, hello Winnie, how are you guys all doing? Hopefully everybody's doing fine. Today is no lah, tomorrow is a very important day. Because why? There's a Japanese comic that has written that tomorrow there's gonna be a big tsunami hitting Japan. So these are called prediction, right? So the difference between prediction and also a forecast. Prediction is a yes and no thingy, right? Forecast is a range of area, right? So range of area, you got room to move, as in plan and everything. Prediction, no room to plan, right? So it's either it hits or it doesn't hit, right? But anyway lah, right? So for the rest of us in the rest of the world, it is just another day to pass. Okay, right? So for those that is in Japan, hopefully the comic is wrong. Okay, so tomorrow, I don't know whether it's 5th or 6th, 5th, 6th or 7th already, but anyway lah, doesn't matter, right? So we wait for it, right? So now we're going into the QiMen, which is the pillar, right? So now we're going to try to understand what is the heavenly pillar, and this will conclude all the necessary information, basic information that you require to do a QiMen reading, right? So hopefully after this, when you look at a QiMen plate, it is not so alien anymore, right? So by the way, there's also another asteroid that is moving our direction. A lot of this sort of news. Hello Jocelyn, how are you doing? Right, so if you are looking into the social media, you will start to see all this news coming in, right? So come, let's just move into the topic today, right? So let's move into the particular topic today and take a look at it, right? So as usual, now you want to get in touch with me, you want to get a consult, you want me to go and come and take a look at your feng shui or whatever it is, right? So go to Telegram, give me a PM, right? So I will get the necessary arrangement done, right? So the monthly forecast, you want to read it on a newsletter, go sign up for the newsletter. If there's any excursion related things happening, we will go and take a look at it, in the newsletter as well, right? So it is a alternative form of communication. You can also PM me in Substack, by the way, right? So, and of course, you want some community support, you're new to the entire Chinese metaphysics, you want to join a community, a bit of a chit chat, got things to ask, right? So you can go and join the Facebook group, right? So I can see that there is actually some new thing on YouTube. There is a little crown beside your name, like Peppo is number 1. Ooh, I think Peppo is top fans, no? So I got GB there. GB is number 3. Red is number 2. All right, so I don't know what does it mean. Later I need to go to ChatGPT and see what is the meaning of the things, right? So I can see Lai Ping join in, Cindy join in. Right, so come, this is a QiMen plate. So if you have no access to QiMen plate, you can go typing Astro. Right, so again, right, just register for a free account first. The paid account later we can talk about this, right? So because after all the essential thing, we will go into application. So when you go into application, then only I explain to you the difference between a normal account and a paid account. The biggest difference is that right now you're looking at, they have a structure there. Right, so the structure means that the moon prosper, so you can see that there's a ghost dune, dragon dune, sun prosper, double deception. These are called structure, right? Or we call it formation, right? So formation means that more than one component put together is called formation. That's it, right? Nothing very complicated about it, right? So formation just give you summary of the circumstance inside the box, right? So we are trying to read the box. So the box got components. So what are the components inside the box? They are the door component, which have 8 of them, which we have covered all. You can go to the QiMen essential video to watch each and every one of it to understand what does each of the component. As a group, the door govern activity action related matter. Right, activity action related matter is actually being governed by the door. So anything that you look at it, if it's action related, activity related, then we look at the door as the indicator. Right, so then we got the star, right? So the star, got 9 of them, right? So which is the one that we are covering, right? So the pillar is the last one that we haven't covered yet. Today we'll be covering the pillar. So the star talk about environmental circumstances or external pressure, you want to call it, right? So external pressure, environmental circumstances is all under the star. The deity is a person, intent, or you want to call mental condition, right? So they got 10 of them, the deities, right? So, and of course, there's the 10 stems, right? So the 10 stems talk about the result of the person, right? Result of the person, right? So the 10 stem is talking about the interacting human component, which is basically the 10 step. So your QiMen, the overall result is the interaction between these 4 components, right? Interaction between people, interaction between the intent of the people, interaction between the environment of the people, and also the subsequent action that's been taken by the people that create a result, or they create a state for you, right? So we are trying to read the state, right? So after you read the state already, we try to augment the state. It's possible to do so, right? So this is what we are trying to do when we are reading the QiMen. So with the door, stars, and deities, basically you covered the reading already. Why I say that the stem is less of a importance? It's not less of an importance. The stems is usually read as a formation, so top and bottom. So there's 100 of them. We do have a series that talk about that, which I will continue to do after this, right? So we did about halfway last time before I deleted everything. Okay, right, so we will continue to rebuild back the entire things, but just at this current juncture, knowing the door, stars, and also deities is enough for you to do a reading that is more meaningful, right? A more meaningful reading, right? So hopefully that's what you're going to do. Come, let's go in and take a look at the pillar. So what is the particular pillar, right? So now in example only, right? So I picked San Guo, so San Guo is the 3 kingdom. There's this fellow called Zhang Fei. Right, now most people actually doesn't really remember Zhang Fei, right? Right, so this is the sun god, the 3 fellow, which is Zhuge Liang, Guan Yu, and also Zhang Fei. So they are 3 brothers. So these are the 3 fellow, which is the being picked as the center point of the entire Sanguo Yanyi. Right, so Sanguo Yanyi is the, you want to call the comic folklore version of the actual 3 kingdom. Right, so the actual history of the 3 kingdom is written in San Guo Zhi. In San Guo Zhi, this 3 fella is basically nobody. Right, the story does not revolve around these 3 guys. Right, it is just the popular version or the folk version that they have focused into these 3 fella, and they became the like the hero of the show. So Zhang Fei is the one of the 3 brother inside, right? So Liu Bei is the one that is basically very strategic. So the brain guy, like they call it the brain guy, right? So Guan Yu, which is the very famous one, right? Guan Gong, green fella, big knife, right? So that is basically Guan Gong, right? So the one that a lot of people pray as deity. So that's Guan Gong. He is representing courage and honor. This fella represent all the brass bravery, right? So it's basically the crazy fella, right? So this is what pillar is. Now in Chinese, the pillar 柱 is actually not the actual thing. Is actually not pillar. It is more closer to a tube. Right, tube is more closer to a tube. More specifically, is a bamboo. Is a bamboo that is used as supporting frame. So why is it that one, right? So you need to know the pillar basically is in the west sector. So west sector is everything that has to do with sound producing. So this is basically a tube that can produce sound. So we are talking about things like flute, trumpet, the horn. So it's basically something that has an outer shell but a hollow center that creates sounds when it is being used. Right, so this is what the pillar is. Right, so from outside, if you take a look at it, it looks like a pillar, right? But then the internal part of it is usually a bit more hollow. So the pillar a lot of time is represent something that's very fragile. Fragile. So it includes things like pottery, anything that outside looks sturdy, but it's actually empty inside. That's basically pillar, right? So so a lot of time when you are doing reading that time, right, because of the English word, not really too appropriate English word, you always imagine pillar as something solid. Right? So a pillar is not solid. The zhu is not solid, right? So the word zhu itself is basically just a frame. You want to call frame, support, whatever it is that you want to call it. But it does look like a pillar from outside, right? So it does represent certain amount of obstruction, but it's actually very fragile obstruction, and it's not very strong obstruction, right? So because anyhow, you're looking at the Tuigua. Tuigua is always something that's very fragile, right? Tuigua represents the youngest daughter. The youngest daughter is the most fragile. That journey, right? So it also represent anything that's basically very noisy. So you guys know that the Tuigua represents a person's voice. So the zhu is actually your windpipe, your neck, your windpipe. This is actually the zhu, right? So that's why when you have the tianzhu, it's basically a situation whereby it's noisy but very fragile, very easy get dispersed, all those kind of environmental thingy, right? So it's the obstruction is usually very temporary, right? It's pillar reflecting the state of alert. Yes, correct, Olga. Right, it's the state of alert. Anything that is in the Tuigua, because you can look at the action on the Tuigua is fear door. So it's also, you see, the word is jing. It's actually alert. It's actually not fear. Right? Jing is alert. It's not fear. Pa is fear. Fear, right? So 你很怕, that is fear. 你惊 is being shocked. Shock is a state of shock. It is not a state of fear. It's just because you're not clear of what's happening. So now a lot of time when you take a look at it, right, it's the the bomb alarm. And this one you need to watch the World War II movie then only, World War II movie or those whole Hong Kong movie, when the bombing airplane come, right? So they will flare the city bombing alarm, right? So that is the state that you're in, when we're talking about the pillar, the fear, the jing state, right? So it's basically that is a state of alarm. You're not actually in fear, you are guarded. The Tuigua in QiMen Tunjia is a situation whereby you are very guarded, you are alert, sensitive, right? So you can call that you are in fear, but it actually doesn't reach the stage whereby you are in fear. You're just guarded and also alert with the situation, right? So that's why when you are doing a reading that time, if you go too much towards that English definition, right, your reading usually die very fast. Right, because you're reading the state in a not correct manner. So when you have a reading, the environment is in a pillar environment, means that there is certain things that is currently is obstructing your way of thinking, right? So you put it in that particular manner, right? So I'm really interested to know what does the crown mean. So manual have a number 2 crown there together with rag, also number 2 crown, right? You guys must be special. Right. Anyway, come, let's go in and take a look at the component of a pillar. Right, so you can see that the pillar basically represents a environment whereby confusion is happening, right? Or AKA call you actually doesn't know what is happening. So it's a havoc situation, right? Carnage, miscommunication, right? So yeah. So a lot of time pillar, the description I give people is a wet market. You've been into the wet market before, right? So I don't know, I don't know how many of you still go into wet market, right? So you go into wet market before. If let's say that you go into, your mom asks you to go and buy chicken, right? So in the wet market, the chicken is always at the back of the market because it's smelly, right? So they need to slaughter the chicken, everything is smelly, so they put it at the back of the market, and it's because it is not the most hygienic place ever. So it is at the back of the market. So you travel from the front of the market to the back of the market, and then what happened? The rest of the store will start to bombard you. It's like, come on, let's take a look at the vegetable. Today vegetable just came down from Cameron Highland. By the way, Cameron Highland is our biggest vegetable production plot of land ever, right? So because they are highland, so vegetable production very fresh, right? Just came down, buy. Like today, like right now is durian season in Malaysia. Durian is going very cheap right now. Okay, right? So you just went. I don't know whether wet market got sell durian. Then the durian guy said, oh, just fresh durian come. Then the fish guy tell you, look at my fish, just come, a lot of sound, right? So by the time you reach the chicken place, you have already bought fish, you already bought veggie, and you forgot about your chicken. That is the state of pillar. Okay, that's the state of pillar, right? So it's nothing wrong, man. It's nothing wrong. It's just a very noisy place, havoc happening, it's nothing too dangerous, right? So nothing too dangerous, right? Together with harmony, does it mean that I'm supposed to be talkative? What does pillar together with harmony? No, pillar together with harmony mean just a lot of people. This is the market, right? Your pillar together with harmony is a place whereby it's very noisy. Everybody talking about their own thing. It doesn't mean that you have to be talkative, right? So does not mean that you have to be talkative. It's just telling you that the environment, right? So can pillar equal confusion? Yeah. Pillar a lot of time is describing a very hectic environment. Just call it very hectic environment. So the obstruction that is coming in is basically, all the hectic things will basically obstruct you from your objective. Like just now I said that your objective to buy chicken, right? You travel from the front until the back, you end up buying everything and forgetting about the chicken. That is a pillar situation, right? That's a pillar situation. So if you're in a situation whereby it's pillar, then just expect that you might be in a very confused situation. So now again, right, the situation is not positive or negative. If you happen to need a situation whereby you need pillar, good lah, right? So like for example, if you are going for a what we call the exhibition, right? Exhibition is supposed to be pillar. It's supposed to be noisy, right? So that's basically what you do, right? So you can see that the pillar situation actually encourages changes. Right, you are going into pillar mean that you're going to be exposed to things that you may not want to be exposed to. You are going to be exposed to information where you do not want to be exposed to the information. You may be exposed to things that is unnecessary, but all these things come in basically is just telling you what internally you are attracted towards. Right, so if you are really just want to buy chicken, right, all these things will not bother you. But why when you reach the chicken place, you would have bought some fish, bought some chicken, bought some vegetable? Because those are the things that internally, right, so appeal to you. So a pillar also help unearth a person internal thinking, because your internal thinking will resonate with external influence, right? So we will resonate with external things, right? So these things basically happen at the same time. Right, so that's why a lot of time when we talk about this, right? So to a person who has a objective, the pillar could be a distraction to the objective. Right, so because the objective could be not your objective. Now a lot of people have objective, but the objective is somebody else's. Like for example, very traditional one I tell you is study hard, get a good result, find a good job, get married, buy a house, have children, die. Now tell me all these things that basically happen, which is study hard, find a good job, earn a good living, buy a car, buy a house, get married, have children. These are all whose objective? Confirm not yours. I can confirm to you all of these objectives are not yours. It's basically placed by somebody. Right, so it's those kind of stuff lah, right? So like for example, somebody asks, oh, how can I influence my children to have good habit? Now here's the question: what does good habit mean? Good defined by you or good defined by the child? Right, it's got to be good defined by you lah, and your good is defined by who? Yeah, your good is defined by the society. Right, because everybody jump the the building, like right now, not a lot of people buy Labubu. Is that good? You tell me first. Labubu price is skyrocketing. Okay, right? So is that good? Right? Right? Do you call it good? I don't know. Right? Not up to me to say, but you guys start to understand now. When you have a pillar situation. When you have a pillar situation, it's a situation whereby it is noisy, incoherent. But then the noise and incoherent will talk to your inner wants. It will talk to your inner needs. And your inner wants and inner needs will surface and resonate with the frequency of the incoherent frequency. Then you start to understand this is who you truly are. Right, so like for example, when the siren of the carpet bombing come in, then only you start to see a fella true self, whether the fella is a selfish person or what is actually important to that particular person. It's like you want to run, what do you grab? Right, now like this is very clear do you grab the do you grab your daughter, grab your son first? Right. When there's nothing happening that time, you can tell people, world is fair, but when the bomb is coming down, right, you take a look out whether you grab your daughter, grab your son. Right, it's through this sort of situation only your actual true self surface. So you don't call it this one is bad lah. Right, so it's under this sort of pressuring situation, then only your one of your true self may basically come out. So that's why when you see that during riots or during this sort of demonstration, then only you start to see a true person's self. Right, so if you want to really see a true person's self, a pillar situation is a good situation. Then again, we go back to the beginning origin of, are you a person who can actually accept truth or not? Just tell you first, many people cannot accept truth or not. Right, so GG, pillar with harmony, right, in your natal chart. Right? So again, together, this has very little to do with your natal chart. Just need to what we call reiterate to you, or QiMen are not designed for destiny reading. Okay, right, so QiMen is designed to do a forecast. It's a forecasting tool. Right, so try not to use QiMen for your destiny reading, right? Unless you got no other things to do, then go ahead. All right, go and do that. Right, so because why? You see, the pillar have to land somewhere. Right, the pillar have to land somewhere. So if your reading mentality is pillar is bad, then definitely one palace is bad. Right, so it means I'm easily influenced by other people's opinion. Also, not that whether you easily influenced, not easily influenced, that is up to you, right? Harmony together with pillar mean that you got a lot of this sort of concern. Harmony is again, harmony is just a multiplier, right? So is that you got pillar, then it's like you got a lot of this sort of concern. Stop yourself, that's all only, right? So if this is the situation, you choose your crowd, done. You just have to choose your crowd only. Right, so you choose a group of lapsa, rubbish, then you have rubbish concern. You choose a group of elite, you probably have elite concern. Right, so that's it. Now again, right, same thing, right, GG, so you see the harmony straight away. You talk about relationship. Your relationship is not driven by harmony. Okay, right, your relationship is not driven by harmony. Harmony is just one small little part of your relationship. Right, it's not driven by harmony. Harmony is not your relationship. Okay, harmony is just a very small part of a particular thing. Labubu is Yitwood. I've not studied Labubu is which one. I can confirm to you Labubu is Smurf. That's it. The creator of Labubu has, said that, it's created based on Smurf. Right, so the Labubu is the, the generic Smurf. The Zimomo is Papa Smurf. That's it. That's how much I know. Anyway, right, so so if you take a look at the situation, it's basically this sort of, crazy, non-coherent, noisy circumstance, which is confusing. That's all. It's a confusing situation, but it's doing this. May I know where to plot a QiMen chart? Deva, from like every single one also, I told you go typing Astro, right? Go typing Astro, you can plot a QiMen chart. Simple enough, right? Right, so if you are looking for, let's say, a person, usually pillar is a tall and strong person, right? Pillar, tall, right? So you have a pillar, you have a pretty person. Is pillar can represent a high building? Yeah, pillar represent high building. Not as high. If you got pillar together with the heavenly nine heaven, very high. 9 heaven usually is very high building. So pillar is generally, you want to call tall building, right? So like, a 3-story building versus a 1-story building, then the 3-story building is a pillar, or anything that is of a tower construction, like, pylon tower construction. Labubu is a rabbit. No, Labubu is not a rabbit. Labubu is a creature. It's not based on a rabbit, it's like, Peppo is Smurf a rabbit? Is Smurf a dog? Is Smurf a... No, it's based on Smurf. Right? It's basically based on Smurf. Labubu is equivalent to Smurf. Western Smurf, Eastern Labubu. Right. Okay, right. So the pillar also represent pool mesh lake. So you can see it's actually taken the environmental portion of the Tui Gua. Right? So you have your what we call your pillar, and also your fear door. Both of them are a breakdown of the component of a Tui Gua. Everything inside Tui Gua is basically being broken down into separate component. Right? So you can see that it represents material that's very fragile because it's empty inside. Inside is hollow one, right? You can see that pot, bowl, cup. All of this is internal hollow. So which means it can hold stuff. So you can also see this one is basically signaling to you, if you are already somebody who are very empty, you go into a pillar situation, you will get filled up with whatever rubbish the environment has, will basically go into you. So if you are a internally hollow person, whether it's emotionally hollow or intellectually hollow, you go into a pillar situation, very bad for you. Okay, very bad for you, because it's you're like a container rubbish no? Okay, good thing no? So if you know that yes, pillar is affecting you like GG, you need to consciously choose your environment. Especially again now, like UGG, you got together with harmony somehow. So which means that it amplified the situation. So people tell you one bad thing, you go and amplify into 4 bad things. Those kind of situation. But people tell you good thing, you also amplify into 4 good things. So your job is to find good company. Right? Once you know how to find good company, you will see that everything amplify in a different manner, because the pillar actually doesn't bring in bad stuff. It brings in confusion. Okay, right? So which means got good stuff, got bad stuff all happening at the same time. You don't know which is which one. Right? So in terms of environmental, it represents frost. So again, it is the what we call your Tui Gua, right? So it's basically your Tui Gua there. So it's the mid of autumn, chill. Right? So you got chill. Is that type of situation. So it's like a very cold metal. Super cold metal, so it's a super cold metal, so things go to there in frosting, right? So in terms of people, it represents a medium, talk to your own self. Medium basically talk to fresh air, right? A translator, right? So you see, right? So if you are looking for a translator, then you want to look for a pillar, right? You look for a pillar. If you look for a translator, right? So if let's say that particular reading, it is concerning a translation service or a translation situation, then the result box got a pillar inside. Good law. So basically, this is a good thing, right? So the pillar also represents gang leader. Right, so if you're looking for a gang leader, then right, so I'm good friend with Sifu. Right, so this is a positive community for you to be in, but it's cautious that you need to form a community that is positive for yourself, in your daily life. Theodore Northeast Destiny Palestine. If pillar come to be very protective of self. Yeah, Theodore people usually is very naturally is very protective because everything also gets scared. Everything get alert, everything get amplified. Any small thing happen is like, it's like it magnify every single thing that's happening around you. So again, it's nothing wrong on Theodore filler usually live the longest one. Yeah, they are more guarded with the whatever that's happening in the environment. They usually live the longest. Survivor, okay, right? So survivor, okay, they know how to survive, right? So nothing wrong with being Theodore, okay, right? So and again, Theodore would definitely, is there, right? So if let's say that you got Theodore together with Harmony just now, right? You a lot of time overthink relationship. Right, a lot of time overthink relationship. Everything is scary. Every single relationship is scary to you. Every single relationship need to be guarded. Now, if you live like that, very difficult lah. It's like you are, afraid of human. So how? Right. So yeah, you need to just to understand what is happening. Right. So like if you are Harmony together with Theodore, then there is a lot of people who is in fear. So what do? Self-fear lah. Yeah, so you've got a lot of people that is in fear. It is the best place for you to self-fear. Right? Theodore with Moon, right? So Theodore with Moon pretty much quite okay, right? Theodore with Moon is pretty much quite, because Moon means seclusion. So seclusion, Theodore with Moon is how to hide fear, or there is a lot of internal concern that is not being shown up. Moon is actually not showing one. I just tell you first. Moon is concealment, right? Moon is concealment, okay? Self-fear, what do you mean? Self-fear means self-fear lah. What do you mean? What do you mean by self-fear? Insurance is the biggest self-fear industry in the world, right? How does insurance sell you one? You die, right? Your family, right, suffer. That's called selling fear lah. You, okay? Pretty easy sales tactic. One of the easiest sales tactic ever is to sell fear to people. You don't do this, right, and then that. Then your mom also know how to do one, man. Don't study, tomorrow no work, eat shit. That's called sell fear lah. Okay, pretty easy. Very easy to do, right? So take a look at it, right? So again, the stars, right? So only stars, doors, and the stem, only these three components is affected by the palaces, right? So out of the component, it doesn't affect the palace. Like for example, your pillar, if it goes to the east side, right? So the palace become weaker because metal attack the palace, right? Metal attack the palace. So when we take a look at it, is the pillar when you go to the let's say that go to the southwest, right? So because the southwest itself would grow the pillar, right? So the southwest, again, the energy of the palace become lesser. So you want, so it's here depending first, you are trying to target the pillar itself, or you are trying to target the palace. In QiMen, the palace is more important than the component one. The palace means ground zero. The place that you are having your battle is the palace. So what comes in basically? So like for example, if let's say you're the battleground and then you see that the pillar is gonna be a situation whereby there's a lot of drum, a lot of marching, a lot of blowing the battle horn. Is those type of situation. right? Those type of situation is called pillar situation. So it's like suddenly the battle horn blow, ooh, but you don't know where the battle is, right? So if the asker box is a pillar, right? Asker box is a pillar, fear door, gung stem, but have chief, meaning you have chief with the gung stem, mean that the chief is useless. Straight away tell you first, the chief together with the gung stem mean the chief is useless. Okay, the problem create communication issue with the boss. Yeah, lor. You can say that, right? So you can basically say that is the situation, which means that the chief right now is of a useless situation. Wrong communication, the chief is not in a good state, right? So it's that type of situation, right? So that's why, please don't overemphasize the chief. The chief cannot be together with Geng. Right? Geng is the enemy. The boss right now is together with the enemy. Right? So which means the enemy is the one that is making the call, making the shot, making the decision. So now again, right? This is bad if you're the good guy, but if you're the bad guy, this is good. You are able to create fear. You are able to create confusion. You are like a scarecrow in Batman. And Batman got a enemy called Scarecrow, and he got the confusion gas thingy. And that is basically your situation. If you talk about Geng together with the pillar, together with the so again, right, when you're a pillar with fear door, it's basically a situation whereby everybody is confused, everybody is in state of fear, no one is happening. It's very easy for you to stand up and become a leadership figure in those type of situation, right? What chief in fear door together is basically a chief that's very guarded, that's all only. Chief with fear door is just that chief is very guarded itself. It's a good thing, by the way. So you have a very careful chief, conservative careful chief. Okay, ma? Right? Conservative careful chief means that you will do a lot of things to safeguard. So again, if this is a state or a stage in your life whereby it is time for you to build certain safeguard to yourself, then chief together with fear is good, right? So you are addressing your fear, right? You're trying to find, right? What about pillar with harm door? Pillar with harm door is attacking all over the places, right? So pillar with harm door can be the situation of we Chinese say Sing Dong Kik Sai. Sing Dong Kik Sai mean raise the flag in the east and attacking the west. It can be that sort of situation, right? Yeah, you don't need to understand the chart on the screen. So this one just measured the quality of the stars when it lands on different palaces, right? So quality of the star when it lands on different palaces. So like for example, if the pillar go into the north, which is the best for the condition of the palace itself, which is the best, right? So what happened here is that the confusion is able to spread. You're able to spread confusion. So in fighting war, this is very good. You don't have to send your soldier in. You just send story in only. Have you heard their general, right, run away already leh? Wow, then everybody is like, oh, no need to fight, right? No chaos all over the places. Right? So you are just fighting a war, you don't really want to fight one. Just tell you first. Right? So in a circumstance of war, if you're reading the what we call Sun Tzu Bing Fa, Sun Tzu Bing Fa, from the first page until the last page telling you is the best is not to fight. Avoid fight, not to fight. Espionage is the best thing to do. Right? No one want to fight one. Fight is the last resort. Right? So if you read the Sun Tzu Bing Fa, fighting, engaging in the fight is a very stupid thing to do. It is usually the last resort. Right? So the entire QiMen Dunjia is actually to help you to not engage in a fight. You go and take a look at what alternative do I have, right? To basically to avoid an actual battle. Right? I don't want to attack anybody. Right? So I don't attack you, you don't attack me. You leave me alone, I leave you alone is the best stage ever. Okay, right? So that is basically the entire idea of a battle, right? So battle is not like who want to fight who and all this. So you guys know that the war is basically two party that's very rich throwing money at each other. Each missile is like a few million, right? Each missile that's sent over there is a few million, right? So tell me, the few million is paid by who? Paid by the poor country who couldn't even feed their own citizen. You believe that? Right? Behind sure got a financer one. Right? So yeah. Right? So if you take a look at war, you take a look at where the money is. You go and check, where does all the weapon come from. Then you know that this particular war is basically financed by who? Easiest to know. Right? So but a lot of people don't want to find out. Okay, that's basically for you the pillar, right? So this one we have done with all the QiMen thingy already. So I will go in and take a look at the stem as well, as time goes by. But it's less of an importance looking at stem because why? Yuga has already gone through the 10-day master. It is the same 10-day master, by the way. Right, so the QiMen is using the same component, just classification a bit different, because we got the good guy, bad guy thingy happening. Right, so we have the good guy, bad guy classification. All right, sound serious today. Just where got sound serious one? Right, don't have anything that's too serious, right? So it's just reflecting the current situation in the market right now, right? So guys, take care of yourself and have fun. Bye.